Hello, I'm Stephanie.
And I'm Lauren.
And this is I've Got Guts, a podcast about living and thriving with chronic illness. Let's be real, it is really hard.
But it doesn't have to be. You are not alone.
With this podcast, we want to create a community and a space to be able to talk about the tough stuff
And laugh along the way.
The idea for this podcast stemmed from us trying to find one for ourselves to listen to, but not being able to find anything that didn't make us more sad or frustrated.
Our goal is to talk about the hard stuff, but also talk about how to get through it, be positive, have a full and productive life, and thrive.
But before we get started, just so we are clear, we are not medical professionals. We are just here sharing our personal experiences. All right. Happy spring, everyone.
Yes. Well, it's warm-ish here.
It will be for like a day or two.
Right. And then it's going to dive back down to 25 and snow.
So hopefully you're having real spring wherever you live.
It does feel good, though, to open the windows and let some fresh air in.
Sleeping with the windows open is like heaven.
The best.
Yeah.
So the best.
That's not even my rose.
Well, let's get into it. Thorns and roses.
Okay, you got to tell your thorn first.
Oh, boy. So my thorn happened yesterday. I was driving to work, and I have a 40-minute commute, and I've been driving this drive for 18 years. So I just feel like I'm on autopilot, and I'm getting to 332, which is a road with like stoplights on it. And I happen to be talking to Heather on the phone, speaker, like through Bluetooth. So like my phone wasn't anywhere near me. I go to reach for I'm at a light. Like, so I'm stopped.
Yeah.
I reach for my coffee and it starts to fall a bit. And I go to lean and get it. And I feel like I kind of blacked out a bit. And my foot went off the brake, and then I'm getting the coffee, and the next thing I know, I look up and I'm smashing into the car in front of me.
Like smashing,
like I crashed. All I kept
But you
saying,
were at a stop, so you weren't going like...
No, right. It was more of like a rolling, but I feel like I'm tired. I'm exhausted. We just came off of a long weekend in Niagara Falls. I'm reaching for my
March
coffee.
Is 800 days long.
It is. And I just, honestly, I don't even remember what I was doing with my foot, but all I knew is I was like, I'm crashing.
Oh,
and
my God.
Heather's on the phone, and I flip out the way I knock my coffee. It spills everywhere. I unplug my phone, so like I can't hear Heather responding back to me. I'm like, I crashed. But I'm like, I'm okay. And I'm like, I'll call you back. So I pull over on the side.
Yep.
The person in front of me pulls over. We get out. Is it not someone I teach with?
Of course. Why wouldn't it be a coworker?
Okay, but here's the worst part about it. I'm like, oh my gosh. So part of me is relieved. So I go up to her. I'm like, I'm so sorry. Then we're hugging.
We're like, of course
I don't know
you
why.
are.
I just like throw my body at her. I'm calling her. She's a newer teacher. I'm calling her by the wrong name. We just have a lot of like Kayleys, Katies, Caseys.
Yeah.
I was just calling her the wrong name, so she corrects me. But wait, then I take her hand, and I'm like, oh, my heart is racing.
And you put it on your heart.
I put her hand on my heart.
That's such a Lauren thing to do.
I'm like, I am just flipping out, but I'm also feeling such peace that it's someone I know and not a stranger. But then I'm mortified. I'm like, I literally just crashed into a teacher at work. So yeah, so that was my thorn. Some damage to my car. We almost couldn't find the damage to her car.
Which is a good thing.
But then we were like, maybe there's a little bit of a dent. So we're moving forward. But I'm like, at least I know you're a good human. She's like, at least I know you're a good human. I'm like, we'll figure this out.
I would just like to point out that in the course of our podcast, this is your second car crash thorn.
You know what? You're right. It is. Whoopsies.
At least the last time it was an old lady backing into your car, not you hitting someone.
I honestly I've only been in like 3 like fender bender accident type things.
Yeah.
This would be my third.
Okay. So, I mean, bad things happen in 3, so hopefully you're done.
Hopefully we're done. So that was my thorn. Just grateful that she's being very understanding and patient. Yes. And I know my name is flying around Canada right now.
But everyone knows you, so they're probably, it's Lauren.
I know, yeah. And I may have went into the meeting that I was late for, and everybody's like looking like, why is she late? And then I'm like, all right, guys, I'm just going to tell you. It's like a room of 15
I crashed my car.
I'm like, I crashed my car into
oh my God.
We work with car. So, all right, that was my thorn. What was your thorn?
Okay. So I went to do my taxes with Anthony.
Yes.
And I'm looking at my pay stub to get like our union dues or whatever. And I see retirement. And I'm like, what's this retirement? And then I look at how much I've paid in a year. And I'm like, that's a lot of money. What is this? And then I start asking questions because
is it your 403B? Like,
no, nope.
Oh.
Nope. So I started asking questions and I'm like, what's this payment about? And so I have been teaching for 18 years, but the first 10 really years of my teaching career were at a private school, and I wasn't part of the New York State retirement system. So once I got into teaching, I was in a higher tier than all of you guys because all of my friends are teachers and you guys are all in tier 4, which is awesome. But when I joined, I was in tier 6. So you guys made payments for 10 years and then you were done with payments.
Into the retirement system that we can access once we retire. Yeah.
I have to pay every paycheck for the rest of my career. And I just learned this 9 years into being in tier 6. So I'm pretty upset about it. I'm upset that I didn't know about it sooner. And B, that's a lot of money each year.
That is for your entire career, whereas the rest of us did 10 and done.
And that's not fair.
No. Then that's why there is the fixed tier 6, which is great. And I am really confident. I do believe they are going to fix it. So hopefully this will just be like a couple more years, if that, for you. And they make a more reasonable decision.
They need to fix it. And while I'm on the topic of education, that's annoying. Also, you're not, I don't know about your school, but our school, the sub situation is dire.
Oh, yeah, I know.
Like, holy cow. And if we don't fix these basic things, like the retirement system and all of the things that are going on, like, we're never even going to get good subs. And then what? Like, it is the worst it's ever been.
I know. It is scary because we need subs desperately. They're so valued. But how do you attract substitutes and more teachers when it's not looking very attractive to be a teacher anymore?
Exactly.
Like it was back when we were graduating college. It was like everybody wanted to be a teacher. Just the benefits and
it's crazy.
Things have changed. So.
I think substitute teaching should be mandated like jury duty. Like you get summoned for a week to substitute teach.
Ooh, I love that. Who could we pitch this to?
I don't know, but because so many people think they know what our career is all about and they have no idea. And I think if they were just thrown into it for a week, they would have a lot more respect for what we do.
And maybe not make comments about how we have all these breaks off and summers off.
Yeah, you understand. After 1 week, you'd be like, they need it.
They need we need our time and our space to rest our mind and recharge our patience, you know.
Yes.
So
those are my thorns.
Oh, boy. All right. Well, roses. So my rose was I was in Niagara Falls with Connor's hockey team this weekend, and it really was a rose. You know, part of me, it's, you know, definitely a lot of time spent at the rink, but just like watching Connor shine on the ice and doing what he loves and watching the team like come together. And they didn't win. I think they ended up third place.
That's still pretty good.
It is. And just the biggest thing for me was just watching how much they've grown all year, and their coach is so dynamite. It was just like an amazing season. It's like when you have a really good class one year, like you don't want that school year to end because you're like, I don't want to let them go. I love them so much. Like I do feel like it's a little sad.
Just seeing him play last year to this year has been a huge difference. I don't know. My gut's telling me he's going to be a hockey boy for life.
I know, right? He's got decisions to make because he plays hockey, plays football, he does baseball. So you really have to start to narrow things down. But he's only 9, so
I don't know though. When I picked him up the other day from school, he told me his whole life plan. He said he's going to RIT and he's going to play hockey and become an engineer. So he's got it mapped out.
He does. You know what? He always knows what he wants. So
and I believe him because he usually puts his mind to what he wants to put his mind to.
He is just like me. So yes.
Very much so.
Yes. So that was my rose. What was yours? You have some fun roses.
I do have some fun ones. So mine's like a IVF update, also tied in with something new I tried to wrap my head around my IVF update. So we are preparing to transfer our embryo. So exciting.
So exciting.
We almost hit a bump in the road. yesterday with some hormone levels fluctuating and the possibility of canceling the cycle. And I wasn't in like a great headspace about it. And my next door neighbor happens to be a Reiki master.
Now, what is a Reiki master?
Reiki is basically channeling energy. It's in the same vein of acupuncture. You know, like acupuncture is a Japanese tradition. Reiki is a Japanese tradition. And it's someone who's trained to channel the energy in your body and bring you just positive energy. And at first I was like, I'm terrible at meditation. You know this. I'm like, how am I going to lay there for a whole hour with someone just like hovering their hands over me? It was one of the most powerful experiences of my life. There were certain parts that she had, like she does it on your chakras, and certain parts I was like, the only way I can describe it is it felt like that feeling I get almost right before I pass out. It was very like
a surge almost.
A surge. I felt like zips go through my body. My eyes were closed and I saw like colors spiraling. And it was just, and I was like manifesting all the things I want. Like this transfer is going to work. This baby is going to grow in my belly. And it was really, really, really powerful. So I feel like I'm doing all these things, acupuncture, Reiki. I am in the best headspace I have ever been in, I think.
You're like literally, I feel it off of you. Like you are just like emitting all of this amazing energy.
Yeah. So
I'm so proud of you.
We said happy spring to you guys. It's not quite spring yet because we're recording a couple days before, but my transfer is on the spring equinox. So I'm planting a little seed on the day of the spring equinox. So I feel like all these powerful things are happening for us.
And I love that you're tapping into all of this. Like, and this is exactly what you were experiencing is part of like what meditation is too, you know? You're getting that, you're just tuning into your inner being and that stream of well-being that flows to us and that energy.
I love it.
I've never had Reiki done.
We're gonna talk to Deb. We're gonna get you in.
All right.
She's powerful Reiki master.
I am ready to be summoned by the Reiki master. Would that be the right way to put it? Or
ready to be not summoned, but like channeled. Maybe.
Okay.
Channeled.
We'll work on that phrasing.
You'll work on it. So we do have a shout out this week.
Yes, we do.
This podcast was created to reach out to people who felt alone or felt like they didn't have a place to go to for answers and needed community. And I just want to shout out one of our listeners, Sean, who has reached out to us and asked, he's having some struggles with C. diff, and he had some genuine questions for us. Like, hey, the doctor suggested this. Have you ever tried this? What do you think about this? And we had a really, really nice conversation. I recommended a book to him. I talked about, a diet that was recommended to him. And he said he listens every week. So Sean, we really, really appreciate you. And I want you to make sure you keep us updated on how things are going because we are thinking about you.
Yeah, sending you all the good, positive vibes that you're feeling good. So.
Yes, and I'm glad you found a community in us.
Yes, we're here for you.
That's right.
But awesome. All right. Well, today, I'm really excited about today.
Me too. This is an interesting one.
This is. And we're going to focus on autoimmune diseases.
Specifically, this new research that's been popping up that we're kind of curious about. And it's women are more prone to autoimmune diseases.
Yeah. So let's unpack this because I'm sitting here with 3+ over here.
I know. I don't have any. So I'm going to talk facts and you're going to talk experience.
Yeah, let's do it.
So women are significantly more prone to autoimmune diseases than men, with about 80% of autoimmune cases occurring in women.
That's wild.
That's 80%? A huge number.
That's a huge percentage.
And it's due to a lot of different things, and we'll get into them. So like genetic things, hormonal things, and immune system differences. So the biggest one is the X chromosome.
I literally, when I was looking at our notes, I like transformed back into high school in science class.
Yeah,
so break it down for us.
Women have 2 X chromosomes, while men have 1 X and 1 Y chromosome. And the X chromosome carries many immune-related genes, which can lead to a stronger immune response, but also an overactive immune system, increasing that risk of autoimmunity.
Interesting.
Yeah. So, and there's this weird thing called like X chromosome inactivation skewing, where like one X chromosome is not fully silenced, and it like leads to this double expression of certain immune-related genes, which like triggers autoimmune reactions. And that's like a newer thing that there's a lot of research on. And I'll be honest with you, I read like 4 articles about it, and I'm like, I have no idea what any of this means. So we're going to have to wait until they do more research and break it down into like more layman's terms, because it was very scientific.
Yes. And I feel like that's how it is in the beginning, right? When they're unpacking, new findings.
Yes. It was crazy. So the next reason is the hormonal influence. So estrogen versus testosterone. So estrogen boosts immune activity, making women's immune systems more aggressive against infections, but more prone to attacking their own cells. Yeah. Sounds like a hormone.
Sounds like a wild hormone.
But testosterone suppresses immune responses, which may protect men from developing autoimmune diseases as frequently. And then for women, fluctuations in estrogen, like during pregnancy, your period, menopause, can trigger or worsen autoimmune symptoms.
Interesting, because they do say like the genes can get activated in certain, pregnancy, for example. I know I have a friend who has celiac disease, and she never had any issues. She had her first son, and afterwards she was diagnosed with celiac disease.
I know a lot of women who go through menopause and then all of a sudden have an autoimmune disease.
Right, it's wild.
It is
so
wild.
Interesting. Okay, keep going. I love this.
So the next one is immune system differences. So women generally have a stronger immune response than men, making them more resistant to infections, but more susceptible to autoimmune conditions. And they produce higher levels of antibodies and have stronger T cell activity, which increases the risk of immune system overreaction. So like even our hormones, our immune system, our chromosomes.
Like we're just check in the wrong column here.
Exactly.
Jeez Louise.
It's crazy. And then one of them, and I will never say this word right, microchimerism. Which is basically fetal cells in women's bodies. So like during pregnancy, fetal cells can remain in a mother's body for decades, which is this process called microchimerism.
I think you're doing a nice job saying that.
I think so. I mean, it's a tough one.
We just got the okay from our producer over here. You did a great job.
Okay, good. Awesome. So these foreign fetal cells may sometimes trigger the immune system to mistakenly attack the mother's own tissues, leading to an autoimmune disease, which probably happened to your
my friend Erica. Yes. That's exactly, And after she had her son, she was just so sick. When he was a newborn, she couldn't figure it out, and it was gluten. So she's my celiac buddy.
That's crazy.
I know.
And environmental and lifestyle factors. So women are more frequently exposed to potential autoimmune triggers such as chronic stress, which we are going to talk about a little bit later too. Yeah. Dietary differences, so like gut health plays a major role in immunity. And those are like some of the biggest reasons. And you're going to tell a little bit of personal experience, and then I found a really interesting article and a book that's coming out that will get a little bit more into that part of it. But I just wanted to point out some of the most common autoimmune diseases in women are lupus, Hashimoto's.
I have that.
Rheumatoid arthritis, multiple sclerosis, and I definitely won't say this one right. Sjögren's syndrome.
Yeah, I think you're close. Yes.
All right.
So all of you listeners have heard me mention this a lot, that, being an undiagnosed celiac for 18 years set the domino effect for my other health issues that I have now. And being undiagnosed with celiac disease can actually lead to serious long-term health problems. So I dug into a little research before this episode, and it's wild. It so much resonated with me. I'm like, that's me. That's me. So serious long-term health problems, including malnutrition, bone weakening, infertility, and an increased risk of certain cancers and other autoimmune disorders. And, the unfortunate reality is that 1/4 of people who have autoimmune diseases have more than one. And that's according to the Autoimmune Association. And I didn't know this. This is a wild fact. You ready?
Ready. I love wild facts.
Scientists have identified more than 80 autoimmune diseases.
80?
80. Like we hear about these
I
common
hear like
ones.
5 or 6 common
Right.
ones.
I was like, so then I like really double checked my sources. Yes, it was, they were
Wow.
saying ranging 80 to 100, but I went on the lower end. It was just, I thought that was really wild. And 25% of people with autoimmune diseases have a tendency to develop additional autoimmune diseases. So for people who have more than one diagnosed autoimmune disease, it's called autoimmunity.
You got that one,
Yes.
Rue. Look at you go.
Okay, so that's the combination of 3 or more diagnosed immune disorders in one person. It's also called multiple autoimmune syndrome, or MAS. So I'm reading this, I'm like, oh my gosh, guys, that's me. I literally have 3. I have celiac.
Yep.
I have Hashimoto's, and achalasia is, kind of controversial, not necessarily controversial, but kind of unknown, the source of it.
Yep.
But when we had Martin Mueller on, when we interviewed the founder of the achalasia support group, he said that he has spoken with a doctor who has done that research, and that it does indeed point to achalasia being an autoimmune disease. Now, depends on the research you find. It's still kind of controversial. So if you count achalasia, I fall in I have 3, which is wild.
3 consistent ones, then every once in a while you get a random one.
Like something random showing up,
that
for my body.
eventually fixes itself, but at times you have more than 3.
Yeah. Like I think about like my gallbladder. Like my body was literally attacking my gallbladder.
Yes.
Was attacking my appendix. It's just so crazy. So genetics are a primary risk factor, and most everyone carries genes associated with certain autoimmune conditions, which I didn't realize that. And according to the National Institute of Health, most people won't develop an autoimmune condition unless something in their environment or lifestyle triggers those specific genes to malfunction.
That's crazy.
Right? So, and it almost sounds like a magical
It
situation.
does.
That doesn't sound
To
real.
wave the wand the right way.
Your gene is going to get activated, and now I crown you a celiac. Like,
Yeah,
it
right?
just sounds so crazy. But for me, when I was 5, something triggered it, because that was when I woke up in the night. My mom rushed me to the ER. We thought it was my appendix. And from 5 until I was diagnosed, I was in pain. So what triggered it? Who knows? It could have been.
Yeah, could have been anything.
Yeah. So for Connor, when I was pregnant and after he was born, I know what I went through. And I did not want to ever watch anyone go through what I went through. So we had genetic testing done on Connor when he was 6 months old, and he has both the gene markers for celiac disease with the most severe case. But here's the thing, just because he has the markers doesn't mean the gene was activated. But I was not taking any risks.
Nope.
You know how
He's
crazy
been
I was.
gluten-free since birth.
Yes. And my pediatrician was wonderful. She's like, Lauren, this isn't the normal practice way. Like you would in a normal situation, the pediatrician would recommend introducing gluten and because it may never get activated, the gene. And she knew my story. She knew what I went through.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what difference does it make? If it's all he knows, and if I can, Mama Bear, protect him as much as I can, I was going to. So he did end up having a reaction to gluten a couple years back, and he honestly has a more severe reaction than I do. And on top of that, he had an EpiPen for wheat allergy, so it's like a double whammy for the poor kiddo.
Yeah.
So I'm just so grateful that I followed my own gut.
Yeah.
And didn't really follow what the pediatrician said. I just went based on like what I thought was going to be best for Connor and I. So when was Connor's gene activated? I have no idea. It honestly is a mystery.
Wasn't it like the cereal incident?
Yes. We were actually at, it's always when we're traveling, every time. The first one was when we were at Kelly's house. And Connor, the kids were little, and she's got 3 kids. And Connor, I think they were all toddlers. And I'm driving by myself home from Poughkeepsie to Rochester.
I remember
Connor
that.
was getting throwing up threw up all over himself. I was on the
you
side of the
pulled over
Taconic.
and didn't like a nice couple help you?
Yes, someone on the Taconic, which is a really scary road.
Yeah, I hate that road.
There was a house on a hill, and she saw, like, obviously, I've got my toddler on the side of the road. I'm stripping him down, and she brought paper towels, Clorox, a plastic bag. So that was the first experience we had. And then he had 2 other poisonings after that. But we don't know what triggered it. So identified triggers can include bacterial or viral infections, certain drugs and exposure to toxins like smoke, mercury, chemicals, excessive sunlight, changes in gut health caused by like poor diet and stress. So I don't know. I feel like Connor as a toddler, I don't really feel like he was going through any of those, but was something up in his belly.
Like excessive sunlight. He loves to be outside. Right. Could it have been that? Like, you'll always wonder.
I know. And it's like, or could it have just been like he had some type of virus and that triggered it for him, you know? So back to the original kind of question that I keep going back to is, why does having one autoimmune condition increase your chance of developing others? And it's genes and those environmental factors. And Room, I know you were talking about an article. I noticed it came from Oprah Daily.
It did come from Oprah Daily.
Focusing on environmental factors and trauma and this new book. So tell us more. How did you find out about this?
I actually came across this doctor through Mel Robbins.
Oh, we love Mel.
And so I saw a video he did with Mel Robbins on this specific subject, and then that led me into looking into him more. And I found that he is writing a book. So his new bestseller is called The Myth of Normal, and his I hope I don't butcher this. His name is Gabor Mate.
Ooh, yes.
And he discusses the rise in trauma-related illnesses. So he's a physician and a trauma expert, and he first recognized a pattern between childhood trauma and chronic illness when he was treating an Indigenous Canadian woman with scleroderma. And his observations led him to research the mind-body connection, concluding that trauma, whether from neglect, abuse, or stress, plays a key role in the development of autoimmune diseases and other chronic conditions.
This is wild.
Yeah. And he argues that while genetics contribute to disease, environment and emotional experiences shape how genes express themselves. And he believes conditions like depression, ADHD, PTSD, and autoimmune diseases are largely rooted in unresolved trauma. So historically, medical professionals noted the emotional impact on health, but modern medicine has shifted toward biological psychiatry, ignoring this link.
Interesting.
And one of his key findings in the connection between niceness and chronic illness. So, like, this is so funny. I found this so fascinating. Studies show that people who suppress anger and prioritize others' needs, especially women,
we're not known for that at all.
I know, right? Are at higher risk for conditions like ALS, rheumatoid arthritis, and melanoma. Women also suffer higher rates of autoimmune diseases and depression, likely due to societal stress and expectations.
Wow. If that is not mind-blowing, I'm not sure what is. And it makes sense. It's like what's going on in your brain and how you're feeling is basically manifesting in disease or illness in your body. It's wild.
And he criticizes the medical establishment for disregarding trauma's role in illness despite really strong scientific evidence. And he calls for medical training to integrate trauma-informed care, arguing that acknowledging the psychological roots of disease could improve both individual and societal health.
Yes, I could not agree more. And this is making, just in the moment, I read a book that Dr. Sarna wrote, and it was all about the mind-body or mind-gut connection.
Yes.
And it's very similar idea, you know, but this was obviously, I don't know how many years ago, but...
Well, yeah. So he's like
this
recently
is more recent.
done. Yeah.
Right.
So he dives into like why are women more susceptible to chronic illness and autoimmune diseases, and he highlights that women suffer from higher rates of autoimmune diseases, chronic pain, mental health conditions, and research shows that women take twice as many antidepressants as men.
Really?
They account for, like we said, 80% of autoimmune disease cases, and chronic pain and illnesses disproportionately affect women.
Wild.
And he argues that this gender gap is not genetic. Our genes don't change significantly over a few generations. Instead, he attributes it to the immense stress women face due to societal expectations, emotional labor, and self-sacrificing tendencies.
Oh my gosh. I'm right. I just think about how we just
and that's
live,
really, yes. And
right?
that's just how women are conditioned sometimes. It's just how we grow up. It's changing, I think, now. It's more like our parents' generation, our grandparents' generation, that definitely was more the norm. And our generation is trying to change things.
Yeah.
And I think for the better, clearly, because look at what's happening.
Yeah, absolutely.
But he says that women often play the role of, he calls them shock absorbers in society. So they carry the emotional burdens for their families, for their partners, for their workplaces. And he points out COVID-19 pandemic, for example, women took on even more responsibilities. So managing childcare, household duties, emotional support, often at the expense of their own well-being.
Mm-hmm. Right, because we just so often, not all of us, but I could speak for myself, like put others first and put ourselves last.
Yeah, and he talks about how women are socially conditioned to be nice, to suppress anger, to prioritize others, to avoid conflict. And this repression of emotions can have really serious health consequences.
You know, it makes so much sense. I literally was just having a conversation with my mom the other day, and she's dealing with high blood pressure. And I said to her, I said, Mom, you have to focus on you. Put yourself first. Your whole life, you were putting Kevin and I first, now Connor and everybody around you, but you need to serve yourself first. You need to take care of you. And in her voice, I heard her basically, she's like, you're right. So she's joining LA Fitness.
Oh, I love that for her.
I know. So proud of you, Mom.
Yes. And there are actual studies that prove this. A study on ALS patients found that those who expressed anger lived longer than those who did not.
Great, Sean O'Reilly.
So he's going to live forever. A 1965 survey on rheumatoid arthritis patients showed they tended to be excessively self-sacrificing and compliant. And a study on melanoma patients found they were overwhelmingly nice, pleasant to a fault, uncomplaining, and unassertive.
Wow, this is crazy.
And this pattern suggests that chronic self-denial and stress weaken the immune system, making women more vulnerable to illness. It just keeps coming up.
Right.
And it's a new thing. So this is new research, new information that we're just really piecing together.
But I also feel like, thinking about the book I read about Dr. Sarna all those years ago, that this has been surfacing, but you're right. Now I feel like there's a bigger spotlight on it and getting more attention, and people are resonating with it. I mean, here we are unpacking this right now, right?
Yeah.
It's wild.
And he argues that women's stress is rarely addressed in medical checkups, which I would agree with, actually. And particularly during major life stages like pregnancy. And he's like, if the medical profession acknowledged and addressed the impact of stress and trauma, it could significantly improve women's health outcomes.
Wow. Makes sense.
So women's higher rates of chronic illness are not just biological. They are connected to those societal expectations, emotional stress, suppression of personal needs. So breaking free from that pressure to always be nice and prioritizing emotional well-being could be the key to reducing the risk of illness. If this is not an eye-opening sign to take care
of you,
then I don't know.
Because when you take care of you, when you fill your cup first, then you can serve others better, and you actually can show up as a better mom, wife, friend, sister, whatever. So
and all of this stuff that he highlights, there's a key factor in this equation, and it happens to be one of my favorite subjects.
I know. I'm ready for it. Give it to us.
The mental load. So the mental load, for those who don't know, refers to the invisible, ongoing cognitive labor involved in managing a household, a family, and work responsibilities. And it's not just the physical tasks. It's the planning, anticipating, and emotional processing behind them. So for many women, this looks like keeping track of appointments, not just for themselves, but for their partner, their children, managing household tasks, so meal planning, laundry, cleaning, remembering birthdays, school deadlines, when the dog needs shots, emotionally supporting their partner, their kids, their friends, their family, anticipating the needs of others before they even ask. So it's that constant mental juggling creates chronic stress. And as Mate explains, stress is a major trigger for immune dysregulation, inflammation, and illness.
It makes so much sense. I literally, as you're saying this, I just flipped out on Sean last night about that. And it not to his fault. He was doing nothing wrong. I just look at him as he sits on the couch after work with peace and no worry. He's just sitting there, just soaking it in, that big old couch. And I'm running around. I'm just doing all of these things. And I listed all the things I'm doing and I bug out on him. But really, in his defense, I'm the one carrying the mental load because I feel like I need to do it. And then sometimes I look at him and I'm like, you were so peaceful over there on the couch. Can you rub that off on me, please?
Yeah. And I actually, right before you came over, I had a little bit of an episode with Anthony because in my head, I know my transfer is coming up on Friday.
Yep.
And in my head, I know that this house needs to be clean. I need to have the fridge needs to be stocked. I need to have nothing on my plate to worry about because I need to focus on relaxing and making this baby stick. So in my head, I'm like, okay, we need to vacuum, we need to do laundry. I have to go grocery shopping. I have to get a birthday present for this person. I have to get a card for this person. I have to make sure the wedding thank yous go out. I have to buy stamps. So it's really just, and then on top of that, you've got your work. Our work mental load is heavy, especially I know for me right now as a special education teacher, it's like the depth of paperwork season. So I'm carrying that
report
too.
Cards. We got report cards, progress notes, all the things. You're right. And it's just our mind is carrying all of it. And that's when sometimes I wish I could be more just not consuming of it all. But it's almost just how we're made up, who I am, but how do we manage it in a way that helps to lessen this load?
Right. So there are some tips on how you could lighten the mental load and protect your health, and that's delegate tasks, and that's sharing responsibilities with your partner or support network. The problem behind that one is you have to sit down with your partner. They have to be open to the concept of the mental load, and they have to say, okay, these are my tasks, and they have to commit to doing those things fully and on their own terms. It can't be let's example, Sean's job is mowing the lawn. He has to take that on. It can't be you saying, Sean, the grass is getting really long. You got to go out and mow the lawn, because then it's adding to your mental load because you're thinking about it and you have to ask him to do the thing that he's agreed to take on as his own.
Right. And he thinks the grass doesn't look as long when I do. So you have to figure out a time frame for things like that.
Yeah, and like I said, it's both partners have to be open to that conversation and the concept of the mental load and be willing to split it evenly, Yeah. You have to set boundaries. You have to give yourself permission to say no and protect your time.
I love that.
You have to prioritize your self-care. So schedule that downtime, that relaxation, just as you would a medical appointment.
Yes. Just like I think about all the time. Just last week, I went for a run and squeezed it in because I knew my body and my mind needed that. And maybe some other things didn't get done. But then when I went to do those things, I was in a better, happier space to tackle tasks because I did something that brought me joy and released energy and stress from the day. So I love that by prioritizing self-care and yourself. Just like you did with the Reiki situation, right?
And I'll be honest with you, for me, it looks like looking at getting into bed around 8:30 so that I have time to read my book before I fall asleep. And that's self-care for me. It looks different for everybody.
Exactly.
Another way is expressing your needs. So suppressing emotions isn't healthy, so you have to find a safe space to vent.
Yep. Hey, AKA, I'm looking at you.
I'm looking at you. Yeah. We have each other, and that's important. You have to have someone that you can vent to who isn't going to make that stress worse. You never come to me with an issue and I'm like, great, now I'm worried about your issue.
Right.
I'm always I talk you through it. I listen. I don't always try and fix your problem because sometimes you just need to tell someone about it.
Yes. And sometimes you just need to feel heard and that's it. And you're not looking for a solution. You're just looking to get it off your chest. And sometimes that in itself feels better.
Yes. And then another big one is advocate for yourself in healthcare. So if stress is impacting your health, bring it up with your doctor. It is just as important as physical symptoms.
Yes, you're so right. You are so right. And that honestly leads me into how we're going to wrap things up today, which is I have been dealing with just some health issues since, I guess, January, right? And now we're in March. So it's been going on, or maybe more end of January, beginning of February. And part of that has been low iron levels. And we actually both had our iron infusions. And I'm actually meeting with my primary care doctor tomorrow about my iron deficiency, my B12 deficiency, and just the bigger picture because I still don't feel 100% myself.
Which is crazy because I'm feeling better from my iron infusion already.
Right. And it's just, and I'm so
Mine was
jealous.
after yours.
Right, exactly. And I had double the amount, I think, right? Because I was there like 30 minutes and you were there 15.
Yep.
So it's just something more is going on. And I did find a little bit of a week where I was like, I think I'm feeling better. Like I am running again, but I'm still not myself. Like today, I would have loved to run here again. But I feel that weight on me again. Like I just don't feel right. So I made the appointment with my primary care doctor to just sit down and look at, okay, here's what the gastro said. I'm talking about the celiac artery, and I'm getting a new vascular surgeon doctor who's going to walk me through what that looks like. And then for the iron, what is it? A hematologist. The hematologist recommended, and I just need her as my point person to just get her eyes on it all, give me her opinion. Are we doing the right thing? Should I be doing anything more? Because I didn't realize this, but low iron levels, particularly iron deficiency anemia, can be associated with autoimmune diseases.
Shocker.
And potentially impacting immune function and just exacerbating inflammation. But the relationship is very complex and not fully understood. And I already had this appointment set for tomorrow with my doctor. And I'm like, I'm following.
You're going in with info.
I'm going in with info, but I'm also, which is usually not me. You know me, I'm not a big researcher, but I knew in my gut that this was just something I needed to do. I'm like, I just feel like I need to make an appointment with Dr. Wise and go see her. So, and here's a little more of a detailed explanation. So how iron deficiency and autoimmune diseases kind of interrelate. That's a tongue twister.
It is a tongue twister.
So iron's role in immunity. Iron is crucial for various immune functions, including energy production, DNA synthesis, and cell
proliferation. I got you today.
She's got me today. Iron deficiency and immune dysfunction. So insufficient iron can lead to cell damage and immune defects, potentially promoting autoimmune conditions. I'm reading this. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. And then
I didn't know this.
Right? And then autoimmune diseases and iron metabolism. So autoimmune diseases like inflammatory bowel disease, so IBD, and autoimmune gastritis can affect iron absorption, and that can lead to iron deficiency. Like, isn't this crazy?
Yeah, this is crazy.
And then there's the anemia of chronic disease, ACD, and that's chronic inflammation, which is a hallmark of many autoimmune diseases and can interfere with the body's ability to use iron, resulting in anemia of chronic disease, ACD. So isn't this all wild?
Yeah, this is crazy. I had no idea that. See, and this is the stuff that maybe, yes, Google can be a double-edged sword, but sometimes you find out information like this and you're like, wow, I kind of wish I knew this.
Right. And I also feel like I am still not feeling myself, and I know what it feels like to feel good. And all of you listening who have chronic illnesses, you know this.
Yeah.
We know how it is when we feel terrible. And then when we finally feel good, we want to get back there. And I am just not there yet. So I'm looking forward to my conversation with my doctor tomorrow. And stay tuned. I'll keep you guys posted on my iron, and is that what's affecting it, or
could it be the celiac artery issue? Like we have so many holes in your puzzle that we need to fill in right now.
Yes, and spring is here, and the weather's getting warm, and I'm looking to register for a new half marathon. So I want to.
Okay, so we really got to get.
We got to get me feeling good so I can get training again, because running brings me joy.
Yeah, and we got to get your pool open and start swimming.
Yeah, we do. We're gonna have a great summer. We got a lot of fun things ahead of us.
We do.
We got really a baby we're going to be growing.
That's right. A pool we're going to be floating in.
It's going to be perfect. It's going to be perfect. So, well, that was a fun autoimmune disease episode. I love that we highlighted it.
We will, after this episode airs, we'll link some of those things we saw with like Mel Robbins and Gabor Mate and like some of this interesting research that's popping up about women and autoimmune diseases. So we'll link those reels so you guys can see where we got some of our information from.
Yes, and we'd love to hear your thoughts. You know, here we are unpacking this, but tell us what you're thinking. Message us, email us. We always appreciate that type of feedback.
Yeah,
especially during topics like this that are new, kind of controversial.
Yeah, we want to know.
It.
It's a new thing. We want to know what your thoughts are.
Yes. All right. Well, thank you for listening. Of course, we really appreciate likes, follows, and reviews wherever you listen to your podcasts.
And you can find us at I've Got Guts Podcast on Instagram and Facebook. And you can email us at I'veGotGutsPodcast@gmail.com.
Have a great rest of your day. We'll see you next time.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.